In 1996, the people of Varginha, Brazil, witnessed a UFO event that would change their lives forever.
Só que ele planava, ia perdendo lentamente a altitude e ia caminhando.
Call it another Roswell, if you will. It is a crashed vehicle that had beings on board.
Mas que eles não poderiam admitir a verdade, a população ia entrar em colapso.
Nada temos a esconder.
Varginha case is considered the most well-kept secret in the military circles of Brazil.
Eles extraterrestres foram capturados, depois posteriormente foram levados para o hospital.
The witnesses are some of the most compelling testimony I've ever heard.
Meu nome é Carlos de Souza.
Meu nome é Cátia Xavier.
Meu nome é Liliane Silva.
Meu nome é Valquíria Silva.
Em 1996, eu vi uma criatura estranha ali.
Action! A lot of people in this town have a little piece of the puzzle.
Naquele local, eu vi o rastro da criatura, o pé.
Foi onde ele falou que eu vi era uma coisa sobrenatural.
This year,
Mark Pellichrez, he had captured this creature with his bare hands.
Você confirma que o seu irmão estava de serviço naquele dia 20?
Confirmo.
After he captured the creature, he developed this infection that wouldn't go away.
Foi pro CTI de manhã, 7 horas da manhã, 15 para o meio-dia, ele veio a óbito.
this can no longer be covered up.
They might shoot us because we're on the property.
This can't be denied.
Bateram na porta e aí eles falaram pra mim:
ficar quieto, se qualquer ia sofrer uma punição muito severa.
This was proof.
We pull this off, it'll be the most compelling testimony revealed.
Of contact.
Aqui, ó. Foi aqui.
This is a level of confirmation that only a handful of people on this planet have.
Yeah, Magia case was in 2020,
I believe.
Yeah,
it was very recent.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah.
Making a blanket statement to cover the entire UFO phenomenon over the past 20 years.
Welcome back to Total Disclosure here on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and every podcast platform that you can explore in the known universe, where we explore the mysteries of the unknown, from sightings to conspiracy theories. We dive deep into the unexplained occurrences in our skies and on the ground. If you're passionate about exploring the unknown and are intrigued by the possibility of extraterrestrial life and how it could be here right now, then this is the channel for you. This is the podcast for you. I'm here with my co-host, Atomic Thomas or Cortex Zero. Are you ready to explore the unknown together?
Ty, I was born ready, my man.
Day. So listen, I wanted to go over this because you and I have talked about Moment of Contact, talked about James Fox. We've talked to James Fox. He's a guest that we are hoping to have on very soon.
Yes.
And I think what he does specifically well is he brings a credibility to the subject that not a lot of people do in their documentaries, where he takes it very seriously. No alien cutscenes, no sci-fi X-Files music.
Right.
It's really like a documentary just based on the topic of UFOs, right?
Guy's my hero in this field because, you know, my dad instilled in me, you know, filmmaking and certain arts, and James represents a lot of good things that I'm passionate about, and like I really admire his work and who he is and how he takes this seriously, how he treats witnesses. When he got emotional on the Joe Rogan show, like that really resonated with me. Like I still go back and watch that sometimes to remind myself why we do this.
Yeah, yeah, and you know who I think should have been right there next to James at that Rogan interview, because without the guy that we're gonna bring in today, Moment of Contact, that movie doesn't happen without Marco Leal, the Brazilian
Absolutely.
researcher. So he's gonna be our first Brazilian researcher on Total Disclosure. We're gonna have him on today. We're gonna be able to ask so many cool questions about the Varginha case, maybe get into some other cases from Brazil, because Brazil has got such a rich history when it comes to this topic and transparency to the public. All right, Marco, thank you so much for joining us today. I would consider you an expert in the Varginha case, but you know, your work with UFOs in Brazil, I'm sure you've covered more than just that. But welcome to Total Disclosure. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you guys a lot to have me here, to have me on. And I thank you, Tyler and Tom, the opportunity to speak with you guys. And I hope your audience
Yeah.
like.
Oh, they've been.
Yeah.
I've been getting DMs about you for many weeks now.
Yeah,
Or
me too.
and so it's been remarkable. The set of people that are interested in what you have to say. So listen, let's not waste too much time. January 1996, some events go down that would not just change the world, but change your life specifically forever. Can you tell us about what that event was?
Yeah, was the Varginha case, and actually, in back to the 90s, like 95, 96, 7, 8, 98, we had a bunch of sightings in Brazil. So I remember the global media, they were talking about like very serious about some cases, because we had so many cases back to the 90s that was really interested. But of course, the one that we had that exploded on the global media in Brazil was the Varginha case, which happened when the three girls saw a strange creature. And I remember that was in January 20th. And then I think 1 week later, the global media we have here in Brazil is like a show, like a journal, every Sunday night, like everybody watches, and
Yeah.
they were taking serious about this case, and they went to Varginha, and they met with the Ubirajara Rodrigues, which was the researcher at the time. He discovered the Varginha case. You
Yeah.
know.
He was instrumental in this case.
time.
But
Yeah.
he later changed his tune, if I'm not mistaken, correctly.
Yes, he's kind of, because he had his own opinion. He changed it a little bit, but there's a lot of conspiracy in his that he took, like why he left the case, But I am friend of him, and I'm still talking with him, and he was helping us a lot with information and witness, you know.
Okay.
He just doesn't want to talk public anymore about the case,
Mm.
and but he's really nice guy. And then also we had another researchers that helped at the time, Ubirajara, which was Vittorio Pacatini, Claudir Covo, and Marco Petit, that they were very good researchers at the time. They still, Marco Petit is still doing, and Vittorio Pacatini just came back right now to speak about Varginha too, and they did a very good research and very good job.
Yeah, and so that case specifically, you're watching this on the news. Is this the case that really like took you from non-interested to interested? Like, is this case what gave you passion for UFOs, and what set you on a path that ended up meeting James Fox and all this? Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your origin and how you came into investigating it directly?
Yeah, yes, thanks. And I used to like UFO subjects since I was a little kid. And I remember when Varginha case happened, I was only 11 years old. So I was like a little kid. And I remember I got shocked like by the media. I was like, oh my God, I want to know more about the case, like I was very curious about it. And I remember I was waiting the next news to know, like what are they, what was happening in Varginha. So I remember Varginha case became very famous because of the three girls, Liliane, Valkyrie, and Katia. And then the girls saw this strange creature, but they never said that it was a ET or an alien. They
Right.
thought that it was a devil,
Mm-hmm.
And then because I think of the form of the body, like the tree. I don't know how you guys say. I don't know if it's not
So
horned.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
so they
horns.
were
Yeah,
three indents that made like kind of like a caverned head. So
yeah,
It's like a
like three
cranial
spikes.
ridge.
Yeah,
yes,
Like a
yeah,
ridges.
ridge, yeah.
and then with like brown skin and big red eyes, and very thin, like, and the veins uh, was kind of, I don't know how to say, was uh, standard, like I don't know how to say, like the veins of the creature we couldn't see very well. The girls could see very well,
Oh,
I don't know
the
if you
veins
guys.
were showing under the skin.
Yeah, they were
I'm trying to pull up a
showing.
picture.
It's
The
like
the the the
transparent.
Yeah,
the picture of the
yeah,
creature. It's not really a good one. All of them
Not
are
at all.
yeah,
all of them are like um web web Ps, so you can't. They're not JPEGs or PNGs, so you can't
Right.
like save them and bring them up.
y-
I hate
But the
WebP.
creature had. I mean, for all intensive purposes, I mean, it looks kind of like a gray, the classic gray,
Yes.
but it's got red
yeah,
eyes instead. And one of the things I did want to, I wasn't going to bring it up so early, but a
yeah,
common theme among the eyewitness accounts, the people that even were at the hospital days later, that
yeah,
smell of ammonia,
yeah,
right? That
exactly.
that
Yes,
that I can't get over. How many people who didn't know each other said all the same thing?
yeah,
One by one.
exactly. Yeah, and then remember that girls right there, they didn't smell it because they were very afraid and they running that down, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Right.
And then so when Ubirajara knew about the girls, he started a really good investigation, and he was bringing some pieces of the puzzle, and like, because the Varginha cases is kind of puzzle. We know that we have only 40%, like we just know 40% what happened. And that's all because the witness came, and then a lot of witness, they didn't know each other, and they saw something like different things, and then, like, because before, actually, and then we knew that before the girl saw the creature, there's a couple of farmers that they saw, like, the week before, or maybe 2 days, we don't know, actually, this the day that they saw the really strange UFO, like a cigar shape, like a
Yeah.
submarine, and then was
Yes.
like some smoke
Some
was
white
coming
vapor.
inside. Yeah, some
So
vapor.
so you're talking. So the specific people you're talking about are the first witnesses we hear from in Moment of Contact, right? The
Yeah,
farmer
yes,
and the wife and the man
yeah,
who
yeah,
they said that they say watched it for 45 minutes, and it was looks like it was in trouble, and
yeah,
wibble
Mm-hmm.
wobble and weebles
yeah,
wobbles, and they watch it go over the horizon waiting to hear it crash, but they didn't really
yeah,
hear anything. um
yeah,
and I found that because that's not the only time that white vapor gets brought up. Carlos de Souza brings up the white vapor as well.
Yes, yes. So was probably the next day. So we think like the farmer sighting was on January 13th because Carlos de Souza, when he was driving to this another city, he knew that it was the January 13th. So right in the morning, like 6 in the morning, he was crossing like a freeway that we call Fernão Dias, and then he saw his strange cigar-shaped UFO. But actually, he told us that he thought that it was a small airplane that and then he said,
like,
"Oh my
he
God!"
never said aliens.
Yeah, he never
just
said
thought,
aliens. Yeah, that's why he drove like to try to help the people who probably was inside of the airplane, because he thought that the airplane was about to crash, because it was like falling. And then I remember he drove back, and then he went to like a very how do I say, a remote street, like a very countryside place, and then
right.
where we showed the farm, the Myolin farm, and then he arrived at the place that he never went before, and he saw all the pieces of the
debris.
UFO, the debris, exactly.
So
and
he
then
comes across the debris field, yeah.
Yeah, and then, but he was thinking, he still was thinking that it was a small airplane, and then he saw the two army trucks coming to the other part, like to the other way from the road, and then they came, and then like some militaries jumped it from the trucks and started grab this debris, these pieces, and then
but they not only were they grabbing the debris before he could even get to it, they also threatened him to get away.
Yeah.
They basically pointing rifles in his face, like, get out of here, get out, back up, and
back up. Yeah, and then because he said, like, when he arrived, like a little, maybe 3 to 5 minutes before the trucks come, he was like trying to go like further to get like near of the big part of the UFO, and then he said the smelling about ammonia was very, very high, and was burning his eye, and then he get like his shirt, yeah. But also he had a chance to get a little piece of the UFO when he in his hand, and then he said it was very light, and then like aluminum paper.
So
yeah, like,
you know what that sounds like, right?
Yeah,
you know what that
this is
so it sounds exactly like the same material from Roswell.
Roswell, yeah.
The metal that was paper thin, but you
Fascinating.
could crush it and it would bounce back out, and
you couldn't
like,
burn
you
it,
couldn't
cut it,
burn
nothing.
it, bast it,
Yeah.
bake it. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So he never thought at the time. So this guy, so when the trucks came one guy, like a military, and with a gun, and say, "Hey, like, get out of here. What are you doing?" Say, "No, I wanna go help the people right there." I say, "No, like, please, you, like, get out, And then they point the gun on his face, and then he had to leave the
And
place.
then he had to leave. Imagine if he were to if he had gotten there maybe 5 minutes sooner, and he was able to pocket a piece of this metal, it would have changed everything. But Carlos's story doesn't end at that point. Carlos then he leaves, and he goes, and he's shaken up. So just like I would do, I would stop. I would get a coffee, try to gather my thoughts. And this is the first time that we hear about a potential cover up being initiated when an unmarked, what Carlos said was an American car. How do you say this? It was an Opala?
Yes, Opala, we
Opala?
call, yeah, Opala,
American car.
exactly.
So an
Yeah.
unmarked American car shows up and says, "You're Carlos de Souza. Your family is this. You live at this place, this place." You know, if you talk about what you saw, things are gonna get really weird.
That's weird,
And
man. How they did that so quickly.
well, he
Yeah,
did an
they did.
interview for the news, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, yeah, that's what Carlos, like when this, because here in Brazil, like back to the 90s, we had a lot of this Opala cars, like around, was very popular in Brazil. So this car came, and Carlos told us that he said that didn't have the license plate on the Opala, you know. And then he says, so two guys with black suits, like very tall, came out, and they say, "Oh, like you said, like you are Carlos de Souza, so like if you tell anything that you saw there, you're gonna get in trouble, you know." And then he was afraid. So Carlos Carlos, before, he was driving to a champion. It's not like, it's like a meeting with like people who likes to do ultralights. Do you know ultralights plane?
Yeah, they were flying like RC planes.
Yes, yeah. So he
So-
got very scared, and he didn't go to the meeting. So he went back to his house. Like he drove 5 hours back, and then when he arrived at his house, he told his wife, and his wife said, "Oh, so you better be quiet, you know, because this is gonna bring us like, I don't know, some problems, or we're gonna having trouble." So he wait into October. So he waited 10 months till he goes to Claudio Covo, researcher in São Paulo, and then he said, "Oh, I want to tell you something that I saw in like around Varginha." And then he told Claudir, and Claudir Covo, the researcher, told Carlos, "Oh, do you think you can take us, you can drive us again to the place that this took place, you know?" And then he said, yes, I think I can. And then they got in the car, and they drove directly to the Myolin farm. And then Claudio Covo called Ubirajara Rodriguez and the other researchers who was in Varginha in October, because that year, like since January, like every month, like a lot of researchers,
they were making their way down there to figure out what was going on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dr. Lear, a bunch of people.
Yeah, a bunch of people. And then they went to the place with Carlos. And then after that, Carlos never appeared anymore in any news, you know. He just he recorded only one interview, like for Claudio Covo and Ubirajara, and that's it. Like,
And then
he's
disappeared for
just
26 years.
Yes, exactly.
Was out of the
Which
picture.
I believe that says a lot. You know, usually if someone's trying to tell a story, trying to capitalize off of it for fame, fortune, and whatnot, they're not going to just vanish for 2 decades like that. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you guys took him back to the crowd, maybe we should not even get into that just yet.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
how did you even go about, because you found him, or you gave you had a certain amount of information, and you enlisted the help of someone to find Carlos de Souza, because James Fox basically tells you, if we don't have him, we don't have a story.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he said.
So how
to
did
me,
you
like,
find him?
Yeah, that was really interesting, because like when I met James was in 2011, when he came to Brazil for the first time to do a speech, like in a UFO Congress. And I met James there. And I remember that James, he didn't believe on the Varginha case, and then like he was like, I was talking to him like, I had a chance to stay 1 week with him, and then we had a
So you
time, more time.
Cause I don't mean to interject here, but I when I was listening to the other interview, so you went up to James and he didn't really believe in it, and
Yeah.
you took a week off from work to drive
Yeah.
him somewhere, right?
Great,
Did
perfect.
you do
Yeah, and
that
then
on? Did you do it on purpose to get a chance to try to prove that this is a real case?
no, actually, no. Because I liked James a lot. He was very friendly, very nice
Right.
guy, and I was worried about it because he didn't speak Portuguese, and he told me, "Oh, after the UFO Congress, I wanna go somewhere because I have 1 week, 1 more week here. So, can you tell me any place, very nice place?" And then I said, "Yes, Paraty is a very paradise place, like ocean, beaches, and very nice place." So James, oh, I'm gonna rent a car, and then you can give me the directions, and then I can go. So I was a little worried, because he was kind of far away from Peruíbe, the city that we were, and then uh, and then I told James, oh, probably I can take 1 week off of my work, and then I can drive you guys, because I was a
Right.
little worried. And then we drove, like I drove him, and then we started talk about it, and then he was asking more questions about Varginha case. So I started to go to Varginha in 2004. So was in 2011. So I when I met James, already went to Varginha for probably 6 times,
Right.
seven, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
he was interested about it, and I remember he told me, like, I think the last day he said, "Oh, like if I come here to Brazil like next week with a crew, like cameras or some, would you go to Varginha and try to convince the witness to come for?" And I said, "Yes, I can try, but at the time in 2011, I remember like the girls and the other witness, they were very like they didn't want to talk at all, about it, because everybody was trying to reach them, and they said, no, I don't want to talk about anymore about the case. So
Mm.
because a lot of people after that made fun of them, and
Yeah.
then
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, and they didn't want to come, so okay, so I remember that James, and then we spoke like about it like this week, and then 1 year later, the National Geographic channel, the production called me, and they say, "Oh, James Fox, he told us about the Varginha case, so we are doing a series which call it Chasing UFOs, which
Mm-hmm.
is in National Geographic," and then they came to Brazil. So I remember when they came, I went to try to speak with the ladies, the girls, and the other witness. So I had a very hard time to convince them at the time. So I
Mm.
remember when James came, we went together, talk with the ladies, the girls, and he knew, he met a guy who knew the one girl, like Liliane, and he was very good friend. And then that guy was very important to convince her to come forward. But this episode was only one episode. Like
I
we
know.
had only the three
Yeah,
girls.
that's it.
That's it,
You didn't even
because
have
like
the farmers yet, right?
Nope.
no, I had it,
Beautiful.
but they didn't want to talk. We had a
Ah.
very hard time
Man.
to convince them, like
Okay.
all of them. And then I remember James said to me in 2000, like 11, 2012, when they came, you really need to find Carlos de Souza, because he's the like a white witness, and we needed that because he was the only witness who saw the crash, the crash site. And I said, yes, let's try to to find. So we took so many years to find him because he disappeared.
Unbelievable.
You know, yeah. And then so James came. We shoot wasn't good the episode. I remember James didn't like the show at all because you know, and then he said no. So the next year I'm gonna do my own production, and then I wanna come back here, and then we do a series, very you know, like like no jokes, nothing. We're
Yeah,
gonna
a
do
very
serious
serious take on it.
serious. Yes, exactly. And then he came again. So he started the 701 project. The 701 was the movie who turned the phenomenon, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
in 2013, when he started, he just had 4 cases, like was Varginha case. I remember the Zimbabwe, the aerial
The
school,
aerial
right?
school. Yep.
Yeah, aerial school, and he had the Lenny
The
Zamora.
Lani Zamora in Socorro, New
Yeah,
Mexico.
Socorro, New Mexico, and he also had he had interviewed the daughter of the Kenneth Arnold, you know, the
Right.
pilot.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he had these 4 cases. So he was, I remember doing another researcher, another search to get everything in 701. So he took many years, you know, like doing. And then I remember I started investigating more Varginha. So I met 2 guys, like I met Joe Marcelo, which is my researcher partner today.
Yep.
And we met in 2015. So and then a little after we met Giordano Mazzucci, which was another partner, and we both investigated like since 2015 to 2021. And then we got up so many things, like we went very hard, like every like I went to, I don't know how many times I went to Varginha, you know, to investigate. But it was very hard because a lot of witness, they didn't want to talk at all. Like, but when they saw like that more witness was coming, you know,
forward.
coming forward. And then I think the girls, I remember, they were starting to you know, like to be more open for the to come, you know.
Yeah.
And then I remember James, he said to me like, oh, now the 701, they turn it the phenomenon. So James went to Australia, China, and he had this big thing that happened in the United States in 2020 when the Louis Elizondo, he, you know, and reached to Leslie Kim. Yeah, and then was very big, and then he had more things to put it on the phenomenon, and he told me, oh my god, there's many information about Varginha now, so probably we can do another documentary. And then I'm gonna take Varginha out of the phenomenon. Yeah, and I was like, oh my
So you
god.
said he always talks about how that you know, he hated to make that phone call to you because it but he didn't think he could do service to the story with the amount of time that he was able to dedicate from the phenomenon. So I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm actually happy with how it turned out.
Yes.
Yes, me too. And at that time I was a little sad, but I knew inside of me that this is, you know, I knew, I don't know how I was feeling that we would have only a documentary about Varginha because there's many information, and actually we didn't put it all. We had a 1 hour and 48 minutes, but there's so many things that we didn't put in, you know, because no time. You know, like interviews, more interviews.
That's some of the
like,
stuff that we want to talk to you about, is some of the stuff that hit the cutting room floor that didn't get to make it in there. And then there's been even more recent updates with some of the doctors that came forward. But before we get into some of the stuff that didn't make it into the film, so Carlos sees when Carlos is brought back to the site, when you bring him back after 26 years, after finding him, and you see the struggle of him trying to figure out, this is a guy whose eyes are racing back and forth, back and forth. He's trying to figure everything out. And then when you finally get him, so you knew where the crash site was, but you didn't want to influence him.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Because we went for the first time after 26 years, and then he didn't he didn't know the place. He thought that it was very different. So I knew because we had the footage, like his interview from 1996, and then I went a couple times in a Maiolini farm, and also I spoke with people who worked at the farm, for the owner of the farm. And then I had a chance in 2013, actually, with James. We had a chance to go there and talk with the guy who worked there, and he was pointing to the place, and he was confirmed. And then we knew about it. So when Carlos arrived, I didn't want to tell him because to don't influence.
Influence, like put that memory in his head. You want him to find that memory.
Exactly.
To also validate, maybe, make sure he's telling the truth, kind of. It was a good tactic on your part. I much commended. So he finds it.
Absolutely.
And either A, he should be in Hollywood acting, or B,
right.
I liked when he was demonstrating with it's such a simple thing. But these are the little things James Fox does that I think lend credence to his films.
Yes.
Instead of making a graphic, he just let Carlos hold a stick and do the motion, right? But the stick kind of represents the UFO perfectly, cigar shaped, and he's doing it. And then we see the crash scene, and he's tearing up, and there's this shot that, I know this is in post-production, so this maybe isn't have to do with you, but there's a drone shot of Carlos standing on the debris field, or where it was, but his mic is still, you could still hear his mic, even though it's the drone shot, and you could hear him sobbing, like like this is a guy who's reliving. And then when he says, Aki, beings died here. That is so tremendously powerful. How is it to see that?
Yeah, it was incredible because in the beginning, I remember he was trying to find, and then James was walking. So we spent the whole day at the farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, I think
it took that long.
The lunchtime, we went. I think it was in the lunchtime. After lunch, and then we actually spent all afternoon into the evening, that place, because we were trying to find Carlos, and Carlos was very, he didn't know, oh my God, this is very different. I don't think it was here. I said, no, it was here. I said, no, it wasn't here. I don't know, I cannot find. So when we came for in the beginning, I saw the little white house there, but I never expected that Carlos was telling, no, I remember a house, was a house, and then he said it was a white house. But at the time, in my head, was a wood house, And then I say, oh my God, no, it's not a white house, But I was wrong. So when I went back after that, just to take a look for the house, and then I saw, oh my God, it's white, it's right here. But I'm not gonna tell him. He needs to find. And then he was trying, and then he went further, very far away to the other place, because the farm is very big, And then we were I was very tired. I had a headache, was very hot at the day. And I remember James, he was when you see the documentary, it's all real. He said, oh, so he was a little concerned, like, see, oh, was here, like, and then he said, "There's a house down there." When he said, the commander. So because I already came to him and I told, "Hey, James, there's a house, right there. I think maybe it's right there," but we didn't want to tell Carlos into. So after like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, and then he said, "Oh," and then James said, "Oh, there's a house down there," and then he said, "Yes, there's a house like behind the trees." Because from that place we couldn't see. So, and then Carlos, I remember he went like down, and then when he saw it, and he started running, and a key. Yeah, and then
that's when you knew, like,
and I was like,
this is it.
This is bring a goosebumps, like,
goosebumps. Yeah,
he has
goosebumps.
a physical reaction when he's there that seems so human and genuine. And like Ty was just saying, the way that James shows those things in the documentary, it's like he brings you into the scene, and instead of maybe putting together like something CGI to demonstrate what had happened, it's just picking up a stick. Like, what was it doing? It feels like you're out there with them. And then when he's brought to tears, that was it. Because I initially did not believe the Virginia case when I was growing up, and that documentary absolutely changed my mind completely. Full stop.
I don't think a lot of Americans, aside from the Americans, UFO people, like the researchers and stuff, I don't think a lot of us knew about the Varginha case in general until it was brought up again by James Fox saying, "Hey, I'm making a movie about this case." Then people started looking into it, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I remember hearing about this on the news, but it never looked like too far into it because it sounds so bizarre. Like, there's aliens running around a city. That doesn't sound like a case that's real, It sounds too good to be true." And typically when it is too good to be true, it's often, that's just the case. It's not real. But with this case, there's something going on here. So after Carlos de Souza, I wanted to talk about the girls. The girls, you bring them back. Back. I love how you guys just cut the gate just with a bolt cutter. And you're like, universal key. And you bring them and you bring them back there. So how does this crash take place from a farm? How does the being get from the crash site to this alley?
Yes, exactly.
In your opinion?
Yeah, that's why I started also to investigate the case, because before I was very shocked, like I believed at the girls, and then after I was like, reading about the case, and I was like, oh my god, I want to go investigate, because actually I don't believe too much at that case. So when I arrived there, and I knew the myelin farm was one place, and where the creatures, like when we had the first capture in the morning, was very far away from the farm. So we don't know exactly what happened, but we can we think, we do a hypothesis, that the craft, like the craft was falling, and then maybe, I don't know, the creatures, I don't know if they come out, because we know, because it had a we have a river, a green river, we call Green River, which is very near of the crash site. And then if you go directly on the river, the river connects to the neighborhood in Varginha, where they were captured for the first time, like, because the firemen, they captured the first creature in the morning, on January 20th. So the girls thought the other creature was 3:30 in the afternoon,
So maybe the
we
reason
don't
for
know.
the red eyes and the oily skin, maybe they're amphibious. Maybe
That's what they were thinking. The researchers, they was believing that, but we don't know. We cannot. It's really weird, like, because was kind of far away, and then they
Right.
just, so the Green River maybe makes sense because we see the river, and then you go cross, like you, if you you fall in the river that goes to very near the place there they were captured,
Right.
you know,
Um,
captured.
so so the girls, they basically, and again, no one, and very surprised, it surprised me that not a single witness ever really claimed in the beginning that this was an alien. They all
Yeah,
said a devil, or they thought it
yeah,
was people crashing.
Mhm.
Like Carlos thought it was people in there. They
yeah,
they they're walking home. They take a shortcut through that little alleyway, and they see this
mhm,
being, this creature,
yeah,
this entity, and it's
yeah,
crouched down, and it's like in this, the picture that we showed. It's in that position, up
yeah,
against the wall, and you
yeah,
take them back there and get their accounts. And they said they went home, they ran home and said to their mother that they saw a demon, or
yes,
like
exactly,
devil, like the devil. And I would associate that with the red eyes, and just it being so, three little girls, right? Like three young girls. I could see why. But then the mother goes back and she smells that ammonia,
mhm,
and then she sees the prints in
Yeah,
the
that's the
ground,
footprint, and she
yeah,
the
the
draws it.
footprint,
footprints,
right?
yeah,
And then she has an experience with a group of people trying to give her money. So
yes.
so with the three girls and their testimony, um, what do you think happened there? Do you think that the same person that maybe threatened Carlos de Souza was making the rounds to these girls' house as well, saying, don't talk about this anymore. We'll give you money, but you can't spend it here. It has to be out of Brazil.
Yeah,
Basically
yeah,
telling
that's
them, go away.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the girls they were in the big media, so everybody was talking about. So they couldn't go directly, and offer the
Right,
money in the beginning. So so when this is happened, I remember the Katya was the girl who stayed a little bit more at the place, like
right.
looking to the eyes.
Frozen, right?
Frozen,
Yeah,
exactly. And she said to me that she felt that the creature was asking for help,
Mm.
please help. And they were very, like, I don't know, scared,
or
And
the
then,
adrenaline.
yeah, she was frozen. And then the two girls, when they saw that Katya was there, because they had a bags, like plastic bags in the hands, like, and then they like, they leave it, like the bags, and the two girls came back and like grab
Grab
her
her.
hands and let's go, and
Right.
then I was like, and then she said she felt also, she didn't look back, but when she was running, she felt that the creature, some was following them, but it was just her thoughts. But
Her
she felt very bad from the creature, like when they were saying, she thought that they were saying, "Oh, please help me," like, or something like that. And then when the ladies, the girls arrived, and at the corner of the street corner, the mother, like, she was asking the neighbors, like, oh, did you see Liliane and Valkyria? They are late, like, she was worried, like, worrying.
So she knew something was wrong
Yeah,
already.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, no
like mother,
question.
Like a
and
mother's
then she
intuition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then when the two girls and Katya arrived, like, Valkyria was crying, and she was most falling, like, like
Like
crying.
stumbling. Yeah.
Yes. And then because the two girls, like, the sister had a 14 years old, 14 years old Valkyria, Liliane 16 years old, and Katya had a 21 years old. So Katya was the responsible, like, she was, of the two girls, the
Yes.
sisters. So the mother told, oh, what my kids saw. And then And they said, "Oh, we saw a demon, like it was like a devil." And I said, "No, come on. If this appears for you, it's gonna appear for me. So let's go right there now." And then Katya, "No, I don't want to go back. Please," was crying. "I don't want to go back." And then Luisa, the mother, said, "No, you need to go back with me because you were with my kids. And then Katya, "Oh, okay." So they had a ride like in another car, and then when they arrived like around 30 minutes later, or 25 to 30 minutes later, when they arrived at the place, Katya didn't want to get out of the car, and then she's just pointed to the mother. Oh, was right there. And then when the mother came out and went to the field, she like saw the fingerprint, but the beginning, first of all, she felt the very bad smell of ammonia. She Yeah, it was kind of, she said wasn't like ammonia, but it was like similar, you
Very.
know
Yeah.
and then she saw the fingerprint there, and then she said that's really weird, and she said that the smell it stayed in her noise like for like 2 weeks probably.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
she
can
said she was
imagine.
rinsing her nose out. Like, 'cause it
Yeah,
smelled like sulfur or ammonia,
sulfur.
like
Yeah,
that deep in. She tried to cleanse it and she couldn't for 2 weeks. And
yeah,
then, so that is that. So the girl's testimony is very, I think it's very critical to the story. Um,
yes,
it
100%.
paints the picture of this being
yeah,
who maybe crashed, maybe ejected, who knows, but it's scared and it just wants help. And I think a lot of us, I think I even asked Tom, like, what would you do if it was you who came across that being and then it was asking for help? What would you do? And I think a lot of us want to say that we would help, but would we? Would fear, would the ontological shock just be so much that you're just like frozen, like the
Even for
girl?
us UFO researchers, it's like if I went out in the woods right now and ran into like a non-human intelligence out of nowhere like that, even I would be kind of stuck trying to figure out what to do. I think I'd probably call for help from someone, police, anybody. Just I need another person with me to handle this.
Well, that's
yeah,
the thing too. That's the thing.
yeah.
So I want to know. So when they refer to the firemen, so because we're gonna get into the Marco Cherise. I think that's a critical part. So there's the Marco Cherise part, Eric Lopes, Military X, and then the doctors. I think that's the way I want to go. But
Yeah.
with there's something that happens. And I don't want to forget about this part because I think often it's overlooked in the film. The family that saw the UFO, the circular one that was doing the grid search, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's so
I think
weird.
a lot of people in their minds, they think, because my girlfriend did it, she didn't know that, she thought it was the same craft that the farmer saw. But no, this is a separate thing.
Totally
This is
different.
separate. This thing was it was a search for what we
Yeah,
can
the search
think
party.
of. Maybe they were searching the grid and trying to
Yeah.
find their comrades, or their friends or whatever. That family is really respectable, and they didn't want to be on camera at all. That it was a struggle to get them to even be on, do the interview. Is with all the witnesses, there's this common theme where you guys had to go out and get them. They weren't really coming forward to you.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
what's that family? Did you guys understand that this was a different event at the time that they were telling you, or were you thinking it was the same thing?
I was thinking actually when we find out the family, and because when I read it, the Birajara's book, we saw so many things inside of the book, and we heard, of course, also, but we never got into some white witness of UFOs around,
Right.
hovering, you
Yeah.
know. And then when I met the family, for me was incredible because I connected directly with the Varginha, like alien, or you know, because or creature, we don't know, because they didn't remember the date, but they remember that it was in January of 1996, and the street of the house is 2 blocks, only 2 streets up of the field where the girl saw the
Right.
creature, you
Super
know.
close.
Yeah, and then we had heard from other eyewitness that I saw like a similar UFO.
Yeah, right in the
And
beginning of the documentary, there's that guy.
exactly, yeah.
And he says, I saw the UFO and it was doing a search.
Yeah, yeah,
Right
and
in
then
the beginning.
and
It's
he
right there.
was with his mom, you know, and was really interested because you know this the interview on the street, like in the right in the beginning, was the same day as the family. So we heard first of all of the guy in the downtown, and then we drove after, like I was trying to convince the family, please, like, can you come and talk to us? Like, and he said yes. So, but in my mind, I thought that they knew that we
You're gonna
gonna
bring cameras.
film,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cameras. So when you arrived, like the guy was talking to the sir, and he said, "No, I don't wanna, I don't wanna be on camera. I thought you guys came here just to I tell my story." I said, "No, please, we want to know your story, but this is very important. This is being 26 years. There's a lot of like white eyewitnesses coming and militaries and like, so I think it's really important to you come." And I said, "No, no, I don't want to be." So James is incredible. He's incredible because he has a talent, and he, you know, like he's incredible to convince people to come for. He had a without him also we couldn't have many of the witness, because he's really,
He's got that
yeah,
tenacity about him. It's like this I don't know, it's something about
He
him.
because
It's
means well, and I think
electrifying.
people
yeah,
pick
because
up on the fact he's being genuine.
yeah, and then he's because his heart is incredible. He's
Right.
feeling that, you know, and then he's convinced because he's feeling that at the time. And then the guy, I remember, said, "Oh, okay." And they say, "Okay, please, sir, we are not going showing your face, you know." And then the guy agreed it. So for me at the time when we came, like in the garage of the family house, and the guys, and then he called his daughter and his wife, and then because they were there in 1996. The daughter was of course a little kid, but she remembered that day. And then when the mother, because here in Brazil we like everybody can order a pizza like very late to, you know, like 11,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
10. Yeah, that's crazy. And then the mother boy that we call the came, and then the mother boy was looking like like up. And then when the guy, the sir, saw, like, what the hell are you looking? And then he saw the UFO like very low, actually, you know, very low. And then he said, "What the hell?" So then I think he called the his wife and little daughter. They came and they saw for about 15 minutes, and like without noise, and he could see like directly the shape, you know, and everything like was doing like this, like in the medium of the UFO. So without
It
noise,
was
it was,
oscillating, yeah. But it was moving at
yes,
the same
was
so
moving like they were searching for
Oh,
his
that's
buddies,
so
you know. That's
wild.
crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
And then he said, "Oh," and then James was like in the end of, "Oh, are you sure that you saw this thing?" And the guy was like a little mad. He was like, "Oh, I am so sure what I saw. I stayed here 10 to 15 minutes to I have like
Take it all
I
in.
yeah,
All
and
the
then no
details.
doubt that I
Evaluate
saw."
it.
Exactly. And
Th-
then
This
when I
guy's a
saw,
doctor too. He's
yes,
not
they are
just
very respectable.
he's not just a
Yeah,
convenience store clerk. This guy's a
yeah,
doctor, which is why he did not want to go on camera. But
Right.
yeah.
you could tell
And
there was like a sense of energy that they just wanted to tell this story to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
right?
and then we felt there, we felt in his eyes how the way they were telling us the uh, the experience that they had it. So I was like, oh my God! So now I believe like that the UFO, like the creature was involved by the UFO, like because
Right.
otherwise what is gonna be, it's like because wasn't only the two there, we had more people who saw the UFO hovering. So after the documentary, a lot of people, I think, they encourage some more witness to come for, like
Encourage
they
them,
all
yeah.
encourage them.
Like a chain
So yeah,
reaction.
I was gonna say, did this film, did it was it a hit down in South America? Like, did a
Mm,
lot of people watch?
a lot of people watch it, but I know like United States, like in
Right.
Europe, like Brazil is crazy because I don't know, because it's very good a documentary because like everybody knows Varginha case in Brazil because
Right.
like like very famous, but like all these years the people was like always a lot of people was make fun, oh this has never happened because the
Right.
people didn't know a lot of things that we were investigating, and
Yeah, they
then
didn't have the whole puzzle.
the
Right.
whole
I
puzzle,
didn't
yeah, and
even
then
believe it.
yes,
So
and then I was like, please, I said thanks James because James he felt in his heart, and he knew that the case was true. Also because we had in 2013 we had a meeting, we interviewed a brigadier, very high
Right.
position
Brigadier
in the Air
General, yeah.
Force.
Yes.
Yeah, general, yeah. And then he told like he didn't want to tell about Varginha case because he said, oh, I am from Air Force, I'm not from Army. Like if you want something about Varginha, you have to go interview like some guy from Army, some military. But James, like after we interviewed him about UFOs over Brazil, that
Mhm.
what he was talking about. After we took the microphones, everything, and he had a taxi, like Uber, to drive him
Home.
to
Yeah.
the airport because he was very late. And then James, I remember we came together, say, please, Brigadier, tell us if this is happening because we are spending our time. I know you know something because you have your friends like on the government. Please tell us. Just you don't need to give us details, but you just tell us. And then I remember, and then the brigadier he looked at and he's like, okay, it happened, and then he
And then he
went
just drove away.
and then he just left. So this is, I think, was very important to James Fox. He started to say, oh my God, this is really happened and
This
let's go.
happened.
Yeah,
Yep.
So
and yeah,
so
and,
so Essa is a big military base in
yes,
Brazil,
very big. Yeah.
in the Virginia area. So my first thoughts about Essa is how did they get to the crashing so quick? Or the military people, did they, I wonder if they watched it on radar, saw something,
That's what
and
I
they were
think.
already on the move
Yep.
when Carlos was seeing it and
Mhm.
intercepted it at the right time. So they had to have had some advanced knowledge that this thing was going down and it was
Mhm.
going to crash in this rough area
Yeah.
or something to that, whatever.
Mhm.
But also ESSA comes into play when the United States gets involved. And this is
Mhm.
afterwards.
Yeah.
So, but the United States did land in in Virginia, in the Virginia area, at the time of the Varginha incident. Is this true or false?
Yes. No, this
They
is
landed.
really true. Yeah, they
Yes.
landed. And then we know where the hotel that they stayed, in Varginha. And then I spoke with a director of the airport of Varginha, like 1 year ago, I think I spoke with him, and he told me he remembered this weird, like a typical, like landed by some Americans, but they didn't know what it was because they didn't have uniforms, like army uniforms, and he remembered and he told me. But actually, how they knew it, because in 1995, the second semester of 1995, uh, the Varginha area we call Minas Gerais state, we call south of Minas, which is a lot of cities.
Okay.
The NORAD was detecting a weird, like strange objects flying over, and then they called our defense department, and then was telling, hey, you in the south, like of
We
Minas,
see
like
something
we,
that's going to go in
yeah,
your way.
yeah, and then we
Yeah.
had a lot of sightings right here, and then this is matches with we had a audio recorded in 1996 by a controller officer, a controller tower, how do
Control
you guys
tower.
say?
Yep.
Yeah, control tower of Air Force, that was telling that a captain of Air Force saw UFO hovering, was kind of river, and then the UFO came inside of the river, like, and then disappeared inside of the water, and then came out of the water, and then he called the controller tower and said, hey, can you check on the radar if you are capturing this weird, like UFO? And then say, yes, I can see here, we don't know what it is, because in the radar here in Brazil, when they are when they are looking into the radar, every airplane has like
Transpons
yeah,
a
there's like
number.
a number, like
That's right.
with it, and
Yeah.
when the UFOs appears, they appears, of course, without the number,
Without the-
and doing crazy
Yeah,
movements.
moving in ways planes don't.
Yes,
Right?
Exactly.
yeah. And then
So,
this has happened in
wow.
the end of
This is
1996
nuts.
in December, in a city which we call Formiga. Formigas, it's very near of Varginha,
Okay.
Wow.
So, and then also, like, when you read the Wirajara's book, you can see a lot of sightings, like, around Varginha. Very incredible sightings,
It all
uh,
lines up.
yeah, and then like landed too. There are people who saw like a craft landed. It's crazy stories,
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, and then in January, this has happened. So NORAD already was, I think the our Air Force, they already knew about this strange activity,
So they
and
were
then
they
they
were
were
looking for it.
looking
They were
They were
more
for.
keen to spot
monitoring it
it.
from the beginning.
Yes, and then when this has happened, when Carlos saw, and then they already knew it, and then that's really weird too, because as a military base, it's only like 30 to 40 minutes from Varginha, but from Myolin Farm, it's kind of like 15 minutes or 10 minutes driving, you know. So that's what they got like into. So that's another thing that a Carlos is saying. A lot of people believe is Carlos, because when the researcher arrived at the myelin farm, so they came from one way, right?
Mhm.
And then they said, oh, Carlos, so you saw the trucks came from the other way, right? Yes. So the researchers, they went, they got inside of the car, and then they drove directly, and then to know where this other part of the street,
Went
uh,
out. Yeah.
yeah, went out. And then when they realize it, when they arrived in a Three Hearts city, which was very near of the ESA army base. You know, that's
There you
crazy.
Oh
go.
What
God.
the hell? So
So
All
you
lines
can.
up. That's
So it
it.
all does add up.
yeah,
Big
and then
time.
also when they arrived, like because Carlos, he took 10 months to tell the researchers. So when they arrived at the myelin farm, if you guys can see on internet on Google like a picture of the researchers doing a research at the field with metal detectors and
Near fields.
yeah, and then
Mhm.
they saw like you can see the the picture of, do you know, the earth was like
It was
was
churned. It was
yeah, it was
battered.
churned.
There was like
Something
disturbance.
disturbed the earth.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, like somebody was like, I don't know, like, you know,
Digging or
yeah.
that
And then,
type of
so
thing.
that's what they thought weird. So we have these pictures and this we have also this video with another researcher film it
See,
at
I'd
the
love to see
time.
all this other stuff that didn't make it
Yeah,
Yeah,
in.
yeah, because
I would love
it
to
all
see it
paints
all.
this picture, like all these. This is like a crime scene investigation, and the things that you would expect to see if a UFO crashed, like it's all there, like all of it. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
missing. Like it's
yeah,
everything you would expect.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
And remember when I told you guys that the guy who worked in a farm, like he went with me and James, we in 2013, he came to the field, and he also said to us that he knew another neighbor who heard a really strange, like very impact, like noise, boom, like, you know. And
Yeah,
right,
then
right.
yeah, and then that's what I was like, that's weird too, you know,
Yeah.
because this is
Well, that
confirms Carlos' story. I
kind of
mean,
confirming Carlos'
yeah.
story that
yeah,
something, at
yeah,
least something, crashed on that farm that day.
There's too many witnesses. There's
yeah,
too
it
many.
is.
Something happened on that
Yeah,
farm that day that Carlos saw, and if he's telling the truth, which I think he is,
Yes.
I don't
hmm,
think someone goes missing for 26 years on purpose
yeah,
without having a good reason, and this
yeah,
would be the one of the best reasons. So then we have the whole we're we're back on that. We're inside that January 13th to 20th week, right?
yeah,
Let's go back there.
hmm,
The fire department is dispatched. Now,
yeah,
the fire department acts differently in Brazil than it does in the United States.
Right.
They call them more soldiers, though.
yeah. Actually, all the firemen in Brazil, they are a military, you know.
Oh,
So,
okay.
okay. So, because
Yeah,
there was a confusion for me when I was watching the film, because I was like,
yeah,
why would they dispatch the fire department to catch
yes.
to catch this thing?
Exactly, perfect. Because like in 1996, like our police officers and firemen, they worked together. They still working together today, but they were in the same actually. They were working like all together. So when people here in Brazil call like to say, "Oh, there's a strange animal around my house," they call to the fire department, you know,
Okay.
because they have the knowledge to come and capture the strange, like monkey or
Yeah,
other
whatever
strange.
got, yeah.
Yeah. And then, so what happened was in 10 in the morning of January 20th, some kids, because I think you guys saw in the on the drone shot of James, you can see like a big, how do I say, a grass, how do I say, like kind of a small forest right there that we have
Right.
between the Jardim Andere neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
and the other side of the other neighborhood, which we call Santana. So in this small forest, uh, the kids, three kids, saw like this strange creature, like very far away, and they got some rocks, and there was like
Throwing it
uh,
at him?
throwing like to this animal strange, like get how do I say, uh like today, they were kind of scared, so they were like
So they were trying to be like, "Oh, get away," kind of thing, right? Like,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, sorry about my English.
Yeah, I
So
picked up on that.
yeah, and then so the other adults, like the father and the other guys, was like, what the hell is that? So they called to the fire department to say, hey, there's some strange animal right here, so you guys need to come over here. So the firemen's, actually the other crew, they were at the neighborhood because they were having they were cutting a tree, you know. They
Okay.
already had it, and they had the truck right there, and they were cutting a tree. So the guy from the base, they had a radio, and they called to the guy, say, hey, we have a strange animal on the Jardim Andere forest. So can you guys take a look? And then they said, yes, we are nearby. We are nearby here, so we can go. And then this was when they went there. They were looking for into the forest, and then they found the first creature. And then they say that the first creature was very weak, you know.
Yeah.
And they had a net, and then they like put it like
I've seen
a net.
illustrations of that.
Yeah, and then but the creature didn't were very weak, you know. Was very easy to capture that. And then they get that, like, was of course smelling, and then they put it in the box, a wood box, and they closed the box. So they called to the captain in the base, say, hey, we had this strange animal right here, really weird, you know. And then this fireman with the captain, they drove to the place, and then when they arrived, they saw, like, they spoke with their friends who did the capture, but they didn't see the creature because the creatures was already inside of the box. Why I am telling you guys that? Because the guy who recorded and the guy who told us, actually Vittorio Pacatini, at the time, he was very, very scared because he was a fireman, and he was like he was telling another friend, like very good friend, what happened. And then Pacatini knew. And then February 16th of 1996, Pacatini went to this fireman house, and then the fireman told him and recorded an audio telling what happened that morning. So that's what I tell you guys, was audio recorded by this fireman military, you know. And then he said he was with the captain. So he tell it that he said when he arrived at the place with the captain, the creature, he didn't see the creature, but he could have heard like a bee song, like a noise, bee sound, like a bzz,
like a
bzz,
humming.
coming. Yeah, like bzz, 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 coming from the box, you
What
know.
the fuck?
And then what
That's
the hell
weird.
is that, you know? And then another truck from the army, from ESA, like, they came, and then the captain from the fireman department said, oh, okay, let's give the box to
Turn
the
it over.
army. Yeah, turn it over. And then they put it in the truck, and then they drove in the morning, January 20th in the morning, they drove him back to the ESA military base with the creature, you know.
Alive.
Alive, exactly.
Alive.
And then alive.
My God.
And then
What
the
the-
firemen's, they say, you guys never can tell, like, they say this was national security situation, and they never can tell, like, tell
What
the
they
public,
saw,
or
what they,
what they
yeah.
saw. But the neighborhood, the other guys was there, they saw it actually when the fireman got the box and gave to the army, you know. A lot of witness was there, like eyewitness. I said, what
Like,
the
because
hell?
when a military truck shows up in your neighborhood,
Yeah,
you're like, what is going
they
on?
said,
You know,
yeah,
peeking and checking it
exactly.
out.
And I
So,
spoke, and then I spoke
wow.
with a guy who was there at the day, and he told us he saw when like the people like from the neighborhood, they were trying to get in the forest, and the firemen, they gave hands, like each one, they get a hand and didn't let the people
The
pass
people
by,
through. Right. So they
yeah,
made like a blockade.
yeah, like a blockade, and they say no, no, never, this is nothing, nothing. And then the guy who heard the baby like was a baby crying, baby was crying. Have you heard about in the documentary a guy who say, oh, I heard um like was crying like a baby, they were
Yes.
telling,
Oh, that's
when they
right.
heard. Yeah.
That's
So I
right.
spoke with that guy. We found because of Birajara. Birajara gave us in 2020. He gave, oh, I find the guy who did the interview. Do you guys want to talk with him?
Oh,
I said,
wow.
please. And then we went to speak with that guy, and the guy told us like this these things that I told you, and it's really incredible because they did the
Oh,
first
man.
capture, and then the intelligence police, they already knew it, and they were the
On the
whole
lookout.
January, yeah, doing
So they were there.
research.
So this is where Eric Lopes and Marco Cherise come into play. They are
Yep.
told to be on the lookout for something strange. No one said alien, but something strange. So Eric Lopes is in the driver's seat, and Marco Cherise is in the passenger seat of this police vehicle, where something crosses the road in front of them. They jam the brakes. Marco Cherise gets out, grabs this thing with his bare hands. There's a little tussle, but not much. Again, this thing is weak. And he maybe gets a little cut in the little struggle, but he handles this thing barehanded, holds it, and then gets in the car. They take this one away. This, again, alive. This one they take away. But later on, it gets a little bit more complicated when Marco Cherise comes down. Now, not only did he report having, or he had sticky on him, sticky stuff. So who said that? How did we get that information?
Actually was from another military police officer who told
Okay.
the family, Marco Cherise's family, because I think Marco Cherise's uncle, like other members of his family, they were police officers too. So the police officers who knew what happened, really happened, they came like secretly with the family and told Marco Cherise's mother and sister that this has happened, the creature was true,
Oh my
but
God.
Oh,
we,
man.
of course we cannot go expose on public because this can
This is
break
gonna
like the
disrupt
religion.
society.
Yeah, like the same thing everybody's saying, about the
Very heavy.
religion, the economy, and this kind of things. So, but not right in the beginning. This has happened when they told them. Probably was 1 to 2 years later, because
After
in the
Marco
beginning,
Cherise already died.
yeah, after like 2 years, probably later when they died, because I think the other police officers, they didn't agree with to hide the family, like the information. So that's what Marta claims. Like she say that Eric Lopes was there with him. Eric Lopes knows very much more what happened. They were trying to ask Eric Lopes at the time, but Eric Lopes was always nervous, like he was smoking
Smoking
cigarettes.
cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and then he
I
didn't
can
want to
picture
talk
that.
to, and then but when he talks about it, Marco Cherise, we knew from members of his family that he changed his emotional, because he was very friend, like they were, when they were little kids, they were friends, so they grow up together,
So
and then
yeah, so that's something that didn't make it in that I found out recently was Marco and Eric have been childhood friends and went into the military together.
Right. They were
Yes,
close.
exactly, they were close, very close, and then
And
so I think.
So is Eric Lopes not married to Marco Chirizi's sister?
It is, yeah, the
Which is
other
something
sister.
that doesn't get touched on in the documentary, but that's wild.
Yeah,
Yes, it
that's
is.
really wild. Because there's kind of, can I say this? There's a like when I met Eric Lopes, Eric Lopes' wife, I never thought there was another sister of Marco Chirizi. So
Right.
she was very rude, like no very rude, but she was kind of rude with me, saying, no, this has never happened. You guys researcher are connecting my brothers. Then I said, your brother? And then I said, yeah, Marco Chirizi is my brother. And I was like, oh my God. So, and then I felt
Wow.
at the time,
Wow.
so I think this is bullshit. I think, no,
Right.
I believe in her. I said, oh, maybe this story about Marco Chirizi, maybe it's bullshit. Maybe he died from another causes.
Right.
But when I met Marta, was after that with James. I said, when we work with James, magic happens, because we were trying to find her very hard, and then we did. And then when we went to speak with her for the first time, she was telling us, and then she told us about the story, and then she told about her another sister they don't talk each other because of this kind of fight, in the
Oh wow.
family. Because someone agrees, like with her, and the other one don't other members, they don't want to expose Eric, you know. And
Because
then
he's technically part of the family, right? Like he's married
it
into the
is
family.
it is yes,
So it's
exactly.
like
Makes a
a
lot of
family.
sense.
Yeah, the whole thing makes sense now. That
Right.
because there's the one sister who wants the truth, and
Mhm.
but then there's the other sister who maybe has a little bit more to lose if the truth did come out,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So do
exactly.
you think that Eric Lopes will ever come forward?
I don't think so,
No.
Tyler, because we after when you guys saw the
It's
scene
pretty
with
dramatic
James.
what happens.
Yeah,
Yes, that it
and
was.
then we tried to reach his out again when I was with James in Vermont. We were James was editing, was doing the documentary, and then I tried to call her again, to his wife. But my partner John here in Brazil, he called her and asked, hey, please, I'm so sorry, James didn't wanna, like, disturbing you guys at the time. So please, what it would takes to Eric Lopes come. And then she said, no, he never is gonna come out, because he doesn't speak about the case with me. Like, of course they don't he's not gonna speak with you, but if you guys, if you, and then she said, this is interested that John told me that she said, if you guys promise, if you guys can promise, if you can bring my brother back, then we can he can talk to you. Like, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah, that's a dead end
so
at that point, because you're like,
so
I
that's
can't.
right.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's no, at least to this degree, there's no point in pushing further on that
Right.
thread,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But so Eric Lopes is the Eric Lopes is the last known person to have potentially
Mhm.
had an alien creature in his
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
and drove it around.
Oh my
That's
god.
crazy. this
It is.
this looks
It's
like
insane.
crazy. Yeah, it's
It's so
insane.
crazy.
And he could have just, James tells it, he could have just came out and been like, no,
Mhm.
the story is, there's nothing to it. But
Yeah.
instead he threatened to shoot everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's a man that's hiding. that doesn't want to
Yes.
talk. And no, you guys didn't even bring up. You guys didn't even bring it up. You walked up and he says, if this is about the ET case, he will not speak. He will not speak. No one brought that up.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, I
Nobody.
guess maybe he had it because there's other people don't know this, but the military was contacting other witnesses while James and Marco were working, saying, "Hey, have you talked to the American documentary guys? Do you still live here? Like, how's your family doing?" Like creepy phone calls like that were being made by
Perfect.
military at the time of filming Moment of Contact. So it's safe to say that Eric might have known you were coming.
Yes, no, for sure. I think he knew, and I told James. I think it's not a good idea to go on his
Yeah,
on
you
to
didn't
his
even get out
house.
of the car, did you?
Yeah, that's what I said. I not agree. I said no, I'm not going
I'll
there.
stay right here for right now.
Yeah, but after that, when I saw, like, because I was in the car, so one time in the end I said, oh, like, fuck it, I'm going. And then I opened like my door, so when I was walking, and they already was like leaving, and
Yeah.
then I have one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had my camera, like my cell phone. I was filming, and then I said, "What happened to the audio guy?" And the audio guy said, "No, he said he's gonna shoot everybody." I said, "I told you guys," because
Yeah.
I knew already that he could, I don't know, to act. I knew because I heard before he gets very nervous, like he changed when he speaks about the
The case.
this
Yeah.
yeah,
He
the
becomes a
case,
different person, more
you know,
guarded.
another thing that we knew, like this 3 months, 2 months ago, we spent a month in Varginha, and we we went to the same street, of Eric Lopes' house. And do you know the name of the street? Marco Elisherizi.
They named the street
I'm
that
sorry.
Eric Lopes lives on. Marco. Oh my God.
Sorry, my cough.
No,
It's
you're
okay.
fine. You're
Yes,
fine.
and then I can send you guys the picture that I did, and I sent to James. James, you're not gonna believe this. So I filmed it. I said, remember right there, like right there is the road, like when we get inside of Eric Lopes' house. So here, look the name of the street, and then it is like Marco Elisherizi. And then this
Wow.
is weird. You know why they?
Whoa.
Why they
They
named the
put it.
street that he
He
lives
leaves.
on?
I mean,
Yeah,
come
on his
on. Look
family.
at everything.
But there's
It's
just
like,
Yeah,
all the evidence points one way. One way.
yeah,
one way,
yeah,
one
and
way
then
only.
That this story and then we get to Military X, the final really piece to the puzzle. Military
yeah,
X is someone who without you, you and James, we may have never heard of. This
Never.
guy
yeah,
was very willing and openly wanted to stay in the dark.
mhm,
What us three, search for,
mhm,
this guy knows, and he does
yeah,
not want to be a part of it. So what we search for this extraterrestrial life, right? These stories, and we search for all of this. This man may have the most might be one of the only people alive with confirmation to such a degree
mhm,
that there's
yeah,
no question, right?
yeah,
So
no
what we
question.
search for ruined his life,
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
he says.
Yes, and Military X, actually, he was, I think, the most important witness in 1996, because when the researchers, Vittorio Pacatini, Ubirajara, they were telling the media, like all the Brazil, that an army was involved, and and then and then he had the names of the militaries who was inside of the hospital. So
Oh, wow.
Pacatini, he came to the whole media in 1996. He said, "Oh, we know, like the militaries, the names of the militaries who was there, and then he was telling like Tibério, Capitão Ramírez, Captain, Colonel, like Olímpio Vanderlei. Why he knew? Because he like days before, on May 4th of 1996, he encouraged the military acts to tell the story, like because he was there and he knew it about another friend who lives in Three Horts, which is Três Corações, where is the army base ESA.
That's where it is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then military X, he lived in Three Horts, a small city, you know, and the other guy knew about the story because military X told this guy, and this guy knew Pacatini and told Pacatini. So they met in the beginning. Military X didn't wanna talk, and then he waited a little bit. In May 4th, we had this is a special day, special thing that a lot of little people know, that all the media in May was talking about. They were still talking about Varginha case, and they had a press conference with the military. So all the
With
media came.
That's the one where he
Yeah.
goes, where he
I've seen
flips
it.
out, right?
Yeah, and actually, was with the first of all was with the researchers on May 4th. On with the general was on May 8th. Okay, 4 days later. So on May 4th, when all media came to Varginha and they went to the Ubirajara's place, and then they were talking. Was the first time when Pacatini said to the whole media the name of the armies, the guy who was involved, the guys.
Right.
And then why he did that? Because the same day on May, like when Ubirajara and the other researchers was with the media doing the press conference, Pacatini had a chance to go pick up military X on the bus station because he was very scared, because he agreed to meet with Pacatini and Marco Petit because he was worried about his own security, because they knew that some, like the army knew that some guy right there was give the information for the media or for the researchers, you know. So he met and he agreed to record an interview with Pacatini and Petit on May 4th, like telling everything like you guys saw on the documentary, that when he was driving the truck, you know, all the details. He told Pacatini for the first time on May 4th of 1996. And then after that, the interview, they drove military X to a secure place, and then they drove back to the press conference. And then Pacatini, he knew, like he already knew it, all the names, and he said, now I'm gonna tell everybody we are not lying, and then we have a confirmation, and we had it recorded with some militaries, and then I'm gonna tell you guys who was in the hospital. And then he told all the names because military X told the guy. And so what happened? Why they did that? Because they were afraid to be like the army was press, you know, like say how do you say, was strengthened, you know, both sides, like the researchers probably and the military, some militaries, but they didn't know that it was a military act for sure. So military said to Pacatini and the researchers, if they find out that was me, you guys get this recorded and tell the media, like give to the media and expose to all the Brazil, like because they gonna kill me or they gonna do something with my family, you know.
So it was like a security policy, insurance
Yeah,
policy.
was kind of security policy with. That's what he agreed to record his testimony in 1996. So all Brazil knew that the researchers had some videos recorded by some militaries from the army and the fireman department, you know. So the army was very scared
Right.
if they put it like the same, you know, member military all was telling the people the truth, and then of course the army, and then they never can do anything with the military acts or his family, you know,
Right.
because he
Right.
would be exposed. And then so that was the deal. So okay, nothing happened with the researchers and the military acts and the other militaries who uh, who helped the researchers at the time. So this is okay. Everybody knew about this recorded. All Brazil would love to watch like the testimony, but of course they cannot expose because it was a deal that the researchers did with these militaries. So in 2021, 2020, I had like 2017. I had the opportunity to watch this full interview of Pacatini and other interviews that they did, you know, because
Yeah.
Birajara was a very nice guy and showed us, you know, and I was like, oh my God, we really
So
need
you
it.
saw the interview with Military X
Before.
that was
Yeah, it was incredible
the
for me.
insurance policy
I can
video.
only imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yeah, and
God,
then
what was going through your mind
yeah.
when you saw that?
Oh, that actually was my kind of dream to watch, because I was like, if this is happening, I want to watch and I want to know like the information. Actually, the
Yeah,
researchers they already gave the information at the time
but
about
you want
how
that
they did.
extra evidence.
And I want to see that guy, you know. I was like, I want to
Yeah, of
see it.
course.
Yeah, and then me and John we watched it, and we got a shock to say, "Oh my God, this is cannot be bullshit," you know. That
Yeah,
is true. And then we saw not only the military acts but other ones, and I was like, "Oh my God, we really needed to try to find these guys."
right.
And then so we did, and then when in 2020 we got his number, and we actually got his address. And I remember I drove like around 9 hours to go to his house, and then we got it to his house,
That's
and we
dedication.
knocked it,
Yeah, it is.
and then the guy said, no, he doesn't live in here anymore. I said, really? When he moved it up is about 4 months ago. I said, oh my God. So
Wow.
Giordano and then Giordano, because Giordano lives in another state in Brazil which is very far away, so Giordano is very good on IT, you know,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
computers,
yeah.
very good. And then I said, oh my God, we drove here like 9 hours and he's
For
not in his
nothing.
address right here, nothing. And then
Mm.
I remember Giordano said, no, wait, do you have this information of him? I said, yes. And I remember we gave to Giordano, and Giordano told us, I'll wait a little bit, and then I'm gonna reach you again. And then we went to a small restaurant at the neighborhood. So I went there to eat something, drink something, and then I was asking to the workers, oh, do you know some guy? He lived in this street right here, you know, and then we had a looky because some lady said, oh, this guy, I know him. He was from the army. Said yes, yes. Also, yes, he moved to the other neighborhood. Also, he's still living here in, I think so. And she said, I saw him like probably 1 month ago. I said, oh, thank you, you know. And then Giordano called us and he said, he's still living in the same city, because I saw here, because I don't know how Giordano got he knew about do you know when we vote, like here in Brazil, when we have elections, we go to the school,
Yeah,
like all the
yeah,
schools
Yep,
yep.
yep, yep.
to
We do the
vote.
same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys do the same, right? And then Jordan found his last vote on the system, and then say, oh, he did, in October. So we were, I think I remember, I think it was in December. So he's still there. I said, oh, okay. So we couldn't find him. We tried. We went to another neighborhood, but no. So we went there and nothing. And then we got his cell phone. And then we had the first time John called him, and he was very scared. He was very suspicious, like, say, what you guys wanted? Like, who are you? And he was keeping asking. And then we were trying. So that was the first time when we had the first contact with him. And then he'll say he was always keeping make questions. He was very suspicious about us. So
maybe thinking you were trying to counterintelligence.
Yes, or how did you find my
essentially.
number? How do you know about me? Like how? And I said, no, we are researchers. You can believe, you can trust us, please. And we would just want to talk to you. I said, no. And then so we had a hard time for like 7 months. So in the beginning, we spoke with him about 7 months on the phone, like not every day, of course, but a quarter
periodically.
Periodically. And he never told us that the same thing that he said on the documentary. I watched his testimony, but in my like I was I remember that I heard from his mouth again, to see if it was true. We were like kind of curious.
Yeah.
And then, but he never told us. So after 7 months, I knew that he came. He's not in the army anymore, but he's a truck driver today. And then I knew that he works for a company which is in Campinas, which is 1 hour from my city. And Campinas, it is the city where he drove the creature in 1996 to the army base. Yeah, to the hospital.
Oh
It's
my
the same
gosh.
city, and he works
Now,
now he works for a company in the city of Campinas. And then I remember John called me, and then he said, "Hey, Military X is in Campinas right now. I spoke with him like 1 hour ago. I said, please, John, ask him if he can meet with me. I drive right now. I can drive." And then I remember John tried, so he agreed. And then I drove there, and then so I met him for the first time. So he said to me, to John, say, tell Marco to, when he arrives, like in front of my job here, my company, I'm gonna be with some friends, and I'm gonna tell my friends that he's my older friend. I said, okay. But I tell Marco to don't leave, like to don't get out of the car. I said, okay. And then I arrived there, and Military X, when I saw Military X, was like 25 years or 26 years later when I saw him on the on the video, right? And I was like, oh my God, it's him, because
Whoa.
we recognized it that it was him. And then he came, oh, okay, you please, can you go down there? And then we stop under the tree. I said, yes. And then I remember I went there. So Military X, he little like 5 minutes later, he went there and he told me, okay, get out of the car, get your phone, all electronics that you have in your pocket, you leave in the car, and then you come out to say, oh, okay. So I left, like I leave it, like, all the things, and then I came out, but it was very dark. Like when I turned it off, the lights of my car was very dark. So he was very near of me, very close, and I couldn't see his face. But and then he started to ask me questions like, who are you, why you were interested about this case, like after. And then we spoke for an hour, and he never told me like his story. He was more the guy who asked me questions. And then he said, oh, maybe, he told me, maybe one day we can meet again, and I'm gonna think maybe I can talk to you and John on another time, because and then he met me for the first time. And then was 7 months the first contact, and then 10 months later, like 2 to 3 months later, my first meet. he agreed to meet with me and John in another city. So then we spoke for 2 hours in a bakery. We went to a bakery, like in a, and then we spoke. But he never told us the details what happened, how he did in the footage, like for the researchers. So okay, so we became a friend, but he said no. And then I remember I said to him, hey, I'm working with a James Fox, and he's a really serious guy. He's doing a really great job, like search about UFOs, and we really wanted you on. He said, no, 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 please, no. I'm gonna get in trouble. No, no, no. Okay. So we keep it talking, and then James came 2021. And then we didn't have a military X actually. And then I remember like 2 days before James arrived with the crew, I called again the military X and say, hey man, please think about it. Please
Right.
think
The
about it.
story needs to be told.
That's so
Yes.
important.
Yeah. Okay. So we went to Varginha. We did the first shoots, the first interviews. I think was maybe 6 days or 7 days later.
Okay.
James didn't know, and I was like, I called again and say, please, please, can you meet with me and James? And then when James knew that is the guy, said, yeah. Say, please, just put in like just try to to schedule a meeting with him. And then he didn't want in the beginning, but he said please. And then okay. And then we drove. I remember we canceled the schedule of the day, the interviews. And then me and James, we drove about 3 hours, 3 hours and a half to meet Military X for the first time, James. And then we meet him, like he was with another friend. And then he told us, okay, now let's go to other place. I'm gonna tell where the place. And then me and James, and then we went to other place. And then we went, and then we spoke for about 2 hours. And the good thing is he liked James a lot, because he felt James like very serious guy. And then he said, okay, I'm gonna think, but I'm not sure, but I'm gonna think. And then I remember the next days we were waiting for him, and Jamie was very excited. He was like, please call him. If he doesn't do, if he's not gonna do, like if he doesn't do now, he's not gonna do, And then I remember like very hard, I said, we are going there, we are gonna drive, we are going, please, you need to tell your story. And he was like confusing. He was like, oh my god, I don't think so, we are in the freeway, let's go. We are going. Oh, but where are we gonna do, like where the place? I said no, we can get a hotel room, and then we can go to the hotel room and we can do. So he didn't decide yet, but we were driving.
So you were heading towards him, and he hadn't even said yes yet.
This is like in real time. They're still trying to convince him as they're headed to him.
Yeah, and then remember when you guys see in the freeway we are driving,
where you pull into that stop and you say,
yeah,
you're gonna buy the hotel.
Oh, yeah, we were trying to. We didn't know, so I told James, let's stop on the gas station when we arrive at the city of that we did the meeting. And then we tried to figure out. And then James said, oh, we better get to the hotel room first, and then he comes after for sure. And then that's what happened. Everything that you guys saw, we arrived like a little bit before him at the hotel. And then I told him, we are in the hotel, like this hotel right here. Okay. And then he said, please, man, please don't show your cameras. If you bring, like, I don't know, hide your cameras or something, I don't want to be seen with you guys. I said, okay, no problem.
Yeah, you can't be seen with going in with cameras with this guy, because
someone needs to
you don't know if he's being, like, this is a real tense. I mean, we're talking about it because it's in hindsight. Like it's, I mean, it's straight out of a movie, because it literally was straight out of a movie. But this is a very tense situation. It's a very
Yeah,
vulnerable situation because at any moment, this guy could have pulled up and just, I'm not doing this, and just left.
Down to the
yeah,
wire.
So you really had to do this correctly. And without that testimony, I think
yeah.
it's still a great film, but
No, but it
without
was
Military X, the puzzle doesn't get put together the way it does. And his
yes,
testimony, I mean, it's mind blowing. Now, when
yeah,
you're sitting there, you're
yeah,
translating, but James is I noticed James starts to understand a little bit. It's like he
yeah.
knows a little bit, but
He
you're
knows. He is
translating this.
incredible. Yeah, I was translating, but James, he knew it because James, he speaks fluent French. Is and Portuguese
Oh,
and
really?
French is not like it's different, but it's kind of similar. I mean, the way you know it's easier
Yeah.
for us to speak French. So James, and he knew it. He was like trying to understand. And sometimes before I say James, he already knew it. You know, like, oh yes, that's what I knew it. And for me also, that time was the first time for my own curiosity to know if Military X was saying the same thing that he said on the
On the interview
1996
from
testimony.
1996. Yeah.
Yes. And I was
The
like, I was
insurance
not
policy
shocked.
video.
Yeah,
And
because
it
he
was all the
remembered.
same?
Yeah, it was almost all the same. Of course, he said to me, I'm not gonna mention the names again. The
Yeah.
military say, okay, no
Yeah.
problem. But actually the whole thing was the same. Actually, unfortunately, we don't get more details on the documentary. We try to put it more like all the details that we can put it. James couldn't put it, but there's more things. It's really
The
incredible.
There's
right.
always
That
more.
And then that's what I believe it's so bad. I got a goosebumps
the
like all
goosebumps
in the
again.
halls. Yeah, in the interview because I was like, oh my god,
I mean, this
I got a
guy's
question for you, Marco. Now that we were like at this point,
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's obvious that you believe this case, but like how after talking to all these different people in person and putting the documentary together and spending times with James like you did, who's obviously an incredible human being. Like how how do you feel about like the world and like the universe now? Like I'm really
I
curious to see like how it's changed your worldview.
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
point.
For me, it's grateful, because first of all, I had my curiosity, but when we have a chance to show the world, I mean, everybody what really happened, or like for me it's amazing. I sometimes I don't believe that. I told James, this is incredible because there's no money can pay anything of that, because this is much more than money, for us who believes in that, and we research about the subject. And was very incredible. I thought like I was living in a dream, but when I was in United States, like doing the with him, and I unfortunately I had a very bad thing in my life that my dad passed away, and then was very bad for me because I couldn't come back to his funeral, and
Oh,
we didn't finish the documentary. So James was very good guy, and like he's my brother, and he offered the documentary for my dad, because I was very close of my dad, and I was like, this is weird, like life is crazy. Always we have a problem. Now I'm living the dream. So we are doing a documentary, everything's fine, and then the life gives you like you know what I mean.
it's ups and downs.
So
It's a big roller coaster, but
yeah, it's
you're like an
unbelievable.
incredible you're in an incredible position now. Like we Ty, I'm sure I can speak for Ty and myself. Like it's surreal that we're even here talking to you. It's like we watch the documentaries, we look up and admire these people. Like a year
Yeah,
ago, I had like 100 followers on Twitter, and now I have like 5,000. Like things just
wow.
happen. You get brought
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
ride, but and
yeah,
then you have to stop and think too. It's like, that aside, we're being visited by something,
Yes.
being observed by something, and its intelligence far outweighs our own, and it
Yeah.
like humbles you. Like, you realize where you're at in the universe. It's like, I believe all sentient life is special and precious,
Yeah.
but to be able to potentially in the future now maybe interact with an intelligence that we could learn from is it's emotional for me to think about that. There's something really special about that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when the
It
being
is.
spoke to the doctor, I've heard, or like there was like a telepathic communication, like I believe what it was, humans are capable of so much.
It was I feel
Like,
bad for you humans.
yeah, I feel bad for you humans.
Because
Like,
you don't know what you're capable of.
that really
Perfect.
stuck with me because I really believe that happened. I don't
That's
think
another
that man's
that's I
making
mean
that
that's a
story
huge
up.
part of the story that we didn't even touch upon. Maybe we can for a couple minutes before we wrap up, but at the hospital, there's you've had what's the current state of this case? Because even more doctors have come forward now. James was just talking about it.
And just
So
last month.
Yeah.
it's very hard to hide an alien body at a public hospital. So how do
Yeah.
they do this?
Yeah, was the information that we had from the doctor, some doctors, was very fast because actually the director of the hospital, the first hospital, regional hospital, he didn't know already. So the army came and they closed some area in the hospital, and they called the doctors because they said they didn't know that it was in the beginning an alien, like, and the doctor who we spoke with, he told was very very fast. So the army came, we put it like in the, I think is, how do you say, morgue, morgue, the place that you guys put in
The morgue.
Mortuary.
the morgue,
Or like the mortuary, mortuary even.
yeah,
Yep.
in the hospital, and then other doctors came to see that they look at it, they say, oh my god, what is that? And then we knew that other doctors from the army came to, but they transferred the creature, the Humanitas, the regional hospital, to the other hospital, and the Humanitas hospital, because the owner of the Humanitas hospital, he actually worked for the militaries too. He's a, how do I say, do you know, when he's a doctor, but he did a test here in Brazil to be a doctor of the the like a police officer, like he was kind of a military too, the doctor. So that we believe it, like they took the alien and then was very easy to cover it up more. And then when they took this creature from the regional hospital, because the regional hospital is a popular hospital in a downtown, so everybody would talk more about it.
Right.
What?
It's not a good
And then,
spot.
yeah, and then they took this creature, drove to the other Humanitas hospital, which was the same hospital that military X had his experience.
His experience
Okay.
with it.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
So
we know now about this doctor who saw the video. I don't know if you guys saw the
Yes.
interview.
Yeah.
Is the first time one doctor come like on camera and speak and tell that he saw the video of the alien that was showing by his friend who already passed away. But actually, we believe that this doctor, Italo, he was there too, but he doesn't want to tell like everybody. I mean, that he was there and he did some procedures. But if you see the whole interview, if you pay attention when he talks about the chess and UFO, like a Varginha alien, it is a way that he find to tell the people that he was there too.
Right.
It's
It was
crazy.
a way
It's
to
crazy.
tell the story without being the story. He didn't want to
Exactly.
be the
Very
story,
subtle.
but he
Yeah.
wanted to tell it. So
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
understand that. And
Yeah.
so from Military X, so we know that there's a video. Someone in the United States military, maybe still even in the Brazilian military, and maybe
Yeah.
even privately
Yeah.
have a copy of this video of this alien creature, of this
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
I don't like the word creature just because it invokes like a
Yeah.
monster, but
Right.
Yes.
It's an entity.
yeah,
Yes.
but this
Entity.
being who probably was, outranked us on the intelligence scale by thousands, right?
Yeah.
This thing, there is video of it somewhere. Are you still
Yes.
actively trying to find that video?
Yes, we are, because we knew from the doctor. Actually, we already knew it. This other doctor, he filmed very, like, very fast at the day. Like he shot the video with the creature right in the
Right,
hospital.
right.
So he hid this video with him and his family. So we knew this information. So I went to speak with his wife, because this doctor, he died in 2018, you know, and like the sorcerer that we had it told us that the family has the footage. So I went to speak with the women, and the women said, no, this is doesn't exist, you know. So we spoke for about a half an hour in her house, and she told that her husband saw the strange uh, military activity at the hospital, but she doesn't know anything about the video. Okay, after 4 to 5 months, I met with Dr. Italo,
Yep.
and Italo told me, a friend of mine showed me the video. And who is the doctor? I asked. Is the husband of the lady,
Of course it is.
So I was like, oh my god,
Somebody's lying.
Yeah, somebody is lying here.
Who is
so James was getting crazy, James, because I was doing a video calls with the doctor and with the women.
Yep.
And then James and us, we said to the doctor, please, Italo, can you speak with her and see if she can again receive us, like in her house. And then he called her, but she said, oh, okay. And then one time, because when I went there for the first time, James was offered $200,000 for the footage, right? And then I told her, she says, oh, it's a lot of money, but I don't have that here. And then, but Italo, I don't know if I can say this here, but he sent me a message, audio message, that the wife sent to him, like audio message, say, oh yeah, Marcos was here and he offered 200,000 for the little movie. I said, little movie? I was like, yeah, but I don't know where this can be, do you know?
So she
And then
knows it exists. She just might not know where it is in the house.
Yes, in the house. So we went back to her house and we spoke with her, and she said, no, I don't know anything about it. But I said, but there's 2 or 3 doctors who are saying that they saw the video and here in your house, and you have the computer right here. And then she was like, okay, you guys can take a look on his computer. So we went to his computer.
Oh.
And then she let us like check a little bit, and then we found on a hard drive, like around old hard drive. And then I asked, please, can you let us get a little bit to check this hard drive, and then I will bring here back. And she said, oh, okay. And James asked it too. And then we took this hard drive, so we have here right now, and we are checking, but nothing is there. We just saw 2 videos of UFOs, but it was like internet UFOs videos that he liked the subject. And then
But why would he have
didn't
a why would this guy have a like for videos of UFOs?
Yes,
right?
exactly. That's
That's
what
another.
Right, like where did that come from?
Where did that
yeah, where
interest come from?
yeah.
Could it
And
be
then
the
also
Varginha case?
yeah, and then also I think that she knew about what he had on the hard drive. If the alien video, like the Beans video, was there, of course I think she will never give us,
No, because she would be like, she wants the money. If she knew
Yes,
it was
exactly.
there, she would say, no, because I want the 200,000 first.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
I told her, we told her, like, if we find something here, your 200, it's yours, But also we said to her, if you don't want the money, you can offer for for kids, like poor kids here, some institution that take cares of poor kids or something in Varginha. And then she said, "Yeah, that's a great idea because I don't think the money for them is a problem.
Right.
We knew more things about them, and but now we are trying. We know for sure that they have this video right there because it is 2 to 3 doctors said they saw the same video.
All
Just
pointing to one
all-
doctor.
in the one doctor and her, and then these other doctors they doesn't want to come on camera, but Italo came on camera,
Mm-hmm.
because he said, now I'm 70 something years old, I don't care anymore,
Yeah. He's on the. That's
right.
typically how it goes, unfortunately.
Right. Might just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
might just have to wait it out until
I think that
someone.
video is going to come out. I do. I have like a. I have like a gut feeling it's going to.
Well, if that video is released properly through, Marco, say you get your hands on that video, and then you show it to James, and James and yourself put that video out there, I think it will lend credibility to the fact that it's real. So there would be a way to
Yeah.
disseminate that, but you'd have to do it quickly and swiftly,
Yes.
because
Yes, very
quickly.
quickly.
because these things have a tendency to disappear
Yeah.
or for
Yeah.
some things to happen. So, I mean, I would love to stay in contact with you about all of it because this
Yes.
case truly fascinates me. And it's not like, I mean, even Varginha in this picture, they have alien, the town has embraced this story. It seems like everybody in Varginha has maybe a little piece to the puzzle. And you've
Yes.
done such a great job at putting this big picture together. I just want to say thank you for the work that you've done.
Well, thank you guys. Yes, it's me and a couple guys, like a couple friends, like John, Giordano, Pilon. We have a kind of small team to connect everybody. So makes so much difference. And then also I want to thank you guys and the audience, like to watch the movie, to know, because actually it was the case of my life. So I spent probably like 15 to 13 years investigating this case and going and back, going forward, back, and then a lot of times I was very sad because I didn't get anything before, so I was trying to push, and thanks God we could do the most we try to show most real things that are happening in Varginha, 1996.
And yeah, and I think I don't think it's over yet. I think
No.
I think there's
No.
more to come on this case.
Yeah.
But what does the future hold for you? I mean,
Yeah.
there's more cases and more things to chase down than just Varginha for you.
A lot happening right now too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot happening in the world with this David
Yeah.
Grush guy. And
Yeah.
where do you see the UFO topic go? Right now.
Yeah, here in Brazil, we have a lot of cases that we can go investigate further, but like it's not like back to the 90s. We have a lot of cases. There's a friend of mine we call Rony Vernet. He's investigating a case which the army and the air force and another institution, the federal police, our FBI, was involved, is attacked by UFOs in a Indian community, Indians community in Acre, which is very far away, remote state in Brazil, and then you make a border with Peru, and it is a jungle, and the Indians claim, and that some of them was attacked by strange lights, and they were very afraid. So the the police, the federal police, and the other institution, they are investigating this. This is happened in 2015, and then Rony, he got official documents from the government talking about this case. Is really incredible, And
You said
also we have,
Vernet, right? Ronnie Vernet?
yeah, Ronnie Vernet.
I'm friends with him on Twitter. I've spoken to him a bunch of times. Ronnie's amazing. He does incredible work.
Yeah, and then you guys also can invite him to talk, because he's really good, and
we should get him on the show, Ty. Ronnie is like a wealth of knowledge, just like Marco, for what has happened and continues to happen in Brazil. His Twitter feed is just amazing.
Why do you think Brazil is such a hot spot?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Good
Brazil
question.
is such a very big country, It's a huge country. It's not like United States, but it's very big. And then we don't know, like, I don't know, some people believe it's because the minerals or the jungle. I don't know what they are interested to searching here.
Water,
But
maybe. It could be.
I thought it was the biology,
water,
the rainforest,
too,
because the rainforest has such a diverse selection of different biological life that maybe they like study that.
Yes.
There's I guess that's all up to speculation, but
yeah, of course.
I'm so curious about this, this Varginha case still. I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to continue, to do your work and to do everything. And I hope this isn't the last conversation we get to have about this case, specifically with you, because I think, you're the boots on the ground guy, you're the man in the chair down there. So, don't, feel free to reach out whenever. And I would love to see that video that you said about the Marco Chirizi way, or the street. But how can people if they want to follow your work, other than watching the film, how can they do that?
Oh, nice, thanks. I have my Instagram. People can reach me there. It's a Leal Marco Aurelio. I can give you after the the words. Yeah, it's a Leal Marco Aurelio, and also I have a YouTube channel. I'm still putting some interviews that I did, not only the Varginha case, because there's a lot of other cases that we had a chance to investigate.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Definitely.
There's a bunch of it, and then I'm always gonna put on my channel, and then you guys can go. It's a Marco Leal UFO. Marco Leal UFO. You guys can subscribe on my YouTube channel, and I'm always putting these new interviews there. And then, like you asked, like in Brazil, we have a bunch of cases now. It's happening also in the south of it's like it's a beach south of states of São Paulo. Is happening some sightings, and we investigated in 2017 a landed, like probably was, we don't know actually, but it was a UFO over a neighborhood, and probably he landed and then we have the pictures and the video at my channel there, and we were trying to investigate more this case, because there's a typical UFO case, because the lights of the neighborhood came out, the people saw a strange light, very low, overing without noise, and then the animals, the dogs was
going crazy.
Yeah, they were going crazy, like and then also we have a uh, I witness who saw this UFOs over in there, and there's another of bunches of cases, and we are trying to do Operação Prato now to maybe convince James to do this one, which is being 43 years, but I still have some witness, and then we have a bunch of documents of Air Force and a lot of good information to share with everybody.
Documents just came out too. I actually have them all on
Yeah.
my computer. They just were released. It's a bunch, but it's all from I believe 2022. But it was all Brazilian like Air Force like written up witnesses testimony. And I
Yeah,
saved. I got to translate it, but
yeah, we have a law here in Brazil that we can ask for the government. So I am a member of this group we call Comissão Brasileira de Ufólogos. Is a researchers a commission that we can speak directly with some institution of governments, and then we can ask, like you guys can ask too, for to release more documents.
FOIA, like a Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah, like a FOIA, you guys.
Yeah.
And then we are asking for the Varginha documents because they never really released anything about Varginha. And then now we know that they have, and we are asking, and they answered us. They say, "Oh, we need to find out here." So let's wait to see if they're gonna release it.
Wow. Imagine that. Imagine some documents came out about this, and those documents then lead to other keywords that you can use to keep that thread going. So wow, so much more to go in this case. Marco, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to do this interview.
You.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it. This was a great conversation, and we hope to stay in contact with you. Hopefully, get to talk to James at some point, and we just love everything that you guys have been doing. It means a lot to us. It does. It really does.
For sure. So, for everybody watching or listening, make sure to leave us a like, share, subscribe, follow. I don't know. It depends on where you're listening and how you're watching, but do the ratings and reviews. It helps the algorithm. And if you want to become a member, you can always get early access to interviews like the one we're doing right now. We release those early for members to be able to check out because this one, this isn't going to come out till Sunday. So, it's basically a whole week before it comes out. So it's a good little deal. And it's like the price of a cup of coffee a month. So if you want to go a little further and help us out and help us get to doing this full time, like Marco and James do, we would really, really appreciate it. So with that being said, let's keep exploring the unknown together, and we'll see you next time.